Hello everyone, and welcome to another Miniature Monday. I'm Scott, and today we are going to put our painting skills to the test as we attempt to outpaint a store-bought mini. Let's get to it. This is the adult Remoraz from the Nulzur's Marvelous Miniatures collection by WizKids, and as you can see, it is a rather intimidating looking creature. Before getting started, I remembered that I already had one of these buggers in my collection. This one I pulled from a blind box, so it came pre-painted, and you can see that the sculpt is a little different. Seeing this as an opportunity, I decided to set a challenge for today's video. The goal is to finish with a better paint job than the pre-painted version. The main color we're going to be using on the Remoraz is Army Painter's Ultramarine Blue. After a quick coat of gray primer, we can see all of the intricate detailing all over this model's segmented body. Although it may feel like an intimidating amount of work to be done here, both due to the detail and size of the creature, we do have one thing going for us. The majority of the Remoraz is one color. This Ultramarine Blue is a great place to start. However, in the future, I might try one shade brighter, as the wash we are going to use is pretty dark. At first, I attempted to avoid the spikes along its back, since we will be painting them a different color, but in the end, I decided this was a trivial effort and would just paint over the blue. After we are done with our second coat, we are going to move on to Vallejo's Blue-Gray Pale for the stone base. Since this creature tends to live in colder climates, I wanted to make the rocks have a cooler feel to them, and this Blue-Gray Pale is a great base for that. During this step, I also took the time to clean up around the legs of the model where some of the Ultramarine Blue got onto the rock. This tends to be a bit of a back and forth process in these fine detail areas. Clean up the rock, clean up the legs, clean up the rock again, go back to the legs, but eventually both are looking sharp. Next, we are going to use Army Painter's Wizard's Orb to get that haunting green of the Remoraz's eyes. Onto Army Painter's Matte Black to take care of those impressive chompers. Now to finish up our base layers, we are going to use Army Painter's Lava Orange to hit those spikes along the spine of the creature. On to everyone's favorite step, the wash. Citadel's Drakenhof Nightshade is going to be our hard hitter on this model. As it goes down on the body, you can see all of those folds in its spiny fins really pop out. Now to wash the spines, we are using Citadel's Seraphim Sepia. Now on to highlighting. For the main body, we will be using Army Painter's Electric Blue and Matte White with our original Ultramarine Blue. I started off with a dry brushing of the Ultramarine Blue to bring a portion of that original color back to light. I decided that this model was large enough that I could get away with dry brushing at this early step. But as soon as we begin to move up in the tones, I quickly abandoned this technique for the more detailed layering. Slowly but surely we hit the raised portions of the body, each time mixing more and more of the lighter tones until we are left with a striking light blue. A few key areas on the body that I found were the flaps of the fins in between the spines, as well as the antenna protruding from the face. Next, we are going to take a step back and wash the stone base in Citadel's Nuln Oil. Moving back into the highlights, we are going to work on the spines. For these, we will be mixing Reaper's Canary Yellow into the Lava Orange, and eventually working our way all the way up to the Matte White. At this point, I realized that I had started these spines off all wrong. I was making the brightest or hottest points the tips of the spines, rather than the portions closest to the body. You know, where the heat of the Remoraz comes from. Apparently, I learned nothing from our time working on fire effects. This far into the process, I realized that it would take quite a lot of work to correct. I would essentially need to rebase and wash all of the areas around the spines in order to fix this issue. With that in mind, I decided to press forward with my current design. Sure, it wouldn't be perfect, but it was still going to look great. Next, we are going to give the stone base a quick dry brush of the original blue-gray pale. And finally, we are going to use Reaper's Spectral Glow to add a reflective spot to each eye. And with that, our Remoraz paint job is finished.
And here we are. You know, with the size and detail that was on this model, I was honestly expecting that to take a little bit longer. I think we put in about an hour, maybe an hour and a half of work, and honestly, there wasn't really anything surprising or hard about it. We weren't using any crazy techniques, it's all simple stuff that we have used in the past. But we're not here to talk about technique, we're here for that challenge. So the real question is, which is better? Did we do a good enough job at improving upon the store-bought model? And, you know, I don't think it's my place to say that. I think I have to leave it up to you. I know I am happy with what I did, but you can only judge your own work so much. So let me know in the comments below how you think we did on this challenge. Also, I want to give a really quick shout out to Brad, who requested this video. Thank you so much for commenting. If it wasn't for you, I don't know if we would have done this one. So again, thank you. Now, before we wrap things up, I do want to take a quick second to let you all know that the Adventures Pack has a Patreon now. So if you've been enjoying this content and are maybe looking for a way to help support the channel and help us grow, then you can head on over and become a monthly patron. There will be a link in the description below. We are so happy with this community that has been growing around us, and we are looking forward to growing and expanding and moving on to new adventures. So with all that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Once again, I'm Scott, and I will see you at the next Miniature Monday.